Good morning. Let's build something. What's up, guys? Chris here from Eagle Ridge, and I've got this slab, this live edge sawmill slab of this gorgeous red oak, and I've been thinking of what I could do with it. So what I'm thinking is a charcuterie board, or cheese board. So, first thing I'm going to do, since this thing is like 8 feet long, I'm going to cut me a segment off just to make it more manageable, and then we'll figure out what we're going to actually cut out of it. Alright? Okay, I've got an idea, but I need to sketch it out and see if I can actually do it or if it's going to be too sketchy. Yep. YouTube magic. So, I made a boo-boo. I cut that off, and as soon as it hit the floor, it split. So, rather than just throw this away and waste it or try to make something out of 2 small pieces, I'm going to throw some glue in this and let it glue up overnight. We'll mess with this one tomorrow or something. I've cut off another piece, and we're going to work with that today. So, let's glue this one up here. Unlike other woodworking homesteading channels, I don't have a lot of clamps. And this is still connected by a couple of fibers, so I'm just going to split those right off. And let's throw some glue on here. Just gonna run right with it. And I'm honestly not that concerned if I put too much. I just don't want to put not enough. And a lot of people will say, oh, you got to wipe off your squeeze out and this, that, and the other. No, you don't. Once this dries, I'll show you, but if you have a bunch of squeeze out, which is where the glue comes out on either side of the joint, all you do is let it dry, and then you come back later with a sharp chisel and just, cut it off. That way, you're not running the risk of removing too much glue from the joint, things like that. So, alright, got that there. I'm going to use the only clamps I have that are large enough for this, which are my band clamps. Okay, and we're going to figure out exactly how to do this. There. Nice and snug. So now we'll just let this piece sit overnight and set up. Like I said, we'll work with him tomorrow. And for now, we'll work on this other piece. So this is the piece I'm going to be working with today. And you see it's still got some live edge, but unfortunately I don't think I'm going to be able to keep it. And it's not a very thick piece anyway. So the idea I've got for this, can you even see that? Yeah, sorta. Basically, since it is going to be a charcuterie board or a cheese board, I'm going to cut it in the shape of a piece of cheese. But then I'm going to inlay a little, you can't really tell, but a little mouse into it. So, alright. First thing I got to do is clamp this down and plane it down, because this is still the rough cut from the sawmill. So, we'll plane this down and see what happens. Alright, so I got this planed down to the thickness that I want. You can kind of start seeing more of that grain pattern now. I knocked the live edge off because it's going to be useless anyway. So the next step for me is to sketch out how I want this. So I know I've got about 7.5 to 8 inches back here. So what I want to do is just kind of find, I need a larger straight edge. Don't see Norm Abram walking around his shop. Find roughly the center. And this does not have to be anywhere near perfect. Just have a center point there to work with. Now off of that is where I'm going to base, and using some of the natural shape of this slab too. So I'd kind of like leaving that, but I don't want to take too much away from it. So I'm just going to sketch me a line there. Nice and heavy. Okay. And then I'm going to use some of the natural curve of this board here, or this side there. Kind of right behind myself. Like I said, this is not exact and not perfect. So I'm just going to run that out like that. Make it come roughly to a point. Now, I can cut it out on the bandsaw. As always, before we use any power tools, let's take a moment to talk about shop safety. Be sure to read, understand, and follow all the safety rules that come with your power tools. Knowing how to use your power tools properly will greatly reduce the risk of personal injury. There's no more important safety rule than to wear these safety glasses. Because if I don't say all that, inevitably, somebody's going to, oh, you know you could get a splinter. Yes, it's a power tool. Trust me, you got to be safe with them. It's kind of bored. Alright guys, so that's our basic cut. You can tell my bandsaw doesn't track correctly, but you might be able to see too what happens when you really get into this wormy wood. You can see all this grain structure and how it really affects it. So I'm going to sand this down a little bit longer, really dial in getting it smooth. So I'm going to go from an 80 grit sandpaper down to a 120. I'm going to stop at 120 for now, and then in part 2 we're going to use this piece of mahogany I had laying around. I think that'd be a great contrast to the oak, and we'll cut out the mouse and get it all inlaid into this oak and finish it up. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you haven't already, hit the bell for the notifications, leave us a like and a comment, and subscribe. You can leave me a dislike, but you gotta tell me why. And yeah, share it with your friends, family, your dog, I don't care, as long as they're watching. Thank you guys so much for watching. Again, hopefully we're doing something that you like. If not, let us know. If you want to see something different, let me know. And as always, it's going to be a good day. Here's a little quick tip for you. If you're working on a piece and you have a little, I don't even know if you could see it, there's a little crack that showed up. So it's not deep enough for me to be concerned about, but I do want to kind of hide it. So this is the sanding dust from this piece of wood. So I'm going to put a bit of the dust on here. Come on. There we go. I'm going to get some of this wood glue. Wipe that off. And sprinkle the dust into the glue. Yes, I know. And make a putty. Since this is the dust from this piece of wood, it'll color match very, very well. And you won't have to worry about using a different wood filler that will not take the mineral oil. And, you know, stain if you're going to use stain, but since this is going to be food grade, it'll be mineral oil. You're interrupting. There's a cat. You're interrupting. Thank you. I know, the dogs do enough. Alright. So, that's how you take care of that. Now we've got some glue pushed into that crack, and it's going to color match very easily and sand very easily. So, alright guys, there's your little pro tip.